It won't stop until I do the numbers I'm supposed to. And my account got as many numbers as a social. With a beach house that's somewhere on the coast too. Bunch of bad bitches that some of you proposed to.
What is up, guys? We have the second in the two-part episode of Sample Shopping. The first episode was aired a couple weeks ago, and now this is the second part. These scents are provided, of course, courtesy of Adriana from the Decant Shop. Decant Shop is a great place where you can pick up samples of niche and designer scents, wear them for a few days before you decide whether or not they're bottle worthy. They have hard to find scents, discontinued scents, and their prices blow other Decant Shops out of the water. You can use coupon code MAX12 and save 12% off your total order at checkout. First up this week, guys, we're going to be talking about another Creed scent. And if you have not yet figured it out, I have what at best can be called a love-hate relationship with Creed. I find that when their scents are good, they're usually great, but I find that far too often them to be mediocre and overpriced, especially when you're talking about the full retail price that you'd have to pay at Creed authorized resellers or dealers. And as far as doing this sample shopping show, we've looked at 3 Creed scents: Arofa, ACA Aluminum, and Silver Mountain Water, and I haven't liked any of those. I found Silver Mountain Water to be too weak and bitter. Arofa, which we talked about last week, is quite pleasant, but I find it to be boring, and ACA Aluminum is nice, but I find it to be dated. So I might pull the trigger on ACA if I could find it for a good price. Same with Arofa, but I'm talking like $100 or less. But today we're going to be talking about a different Creed scent, and that is going to be, let's see if this will focus on it. Yes, Creed's Royal Oud. And as far as my experiences with Oud goes, on this show, I'm sure you guys know they have not been good. I haven't found them enjoyable. We've looked at Leather Oud by Dior's Private Blend, and we've looked at ADP's Colonia Oud, and Mancera's Intensive Oud, but I really haven't loved any of them. And top notes in this scent are going to be lemon, pinkberry, and bergamot. Middle notes are going to be cedar, galbanum, and angelic roots, and base notes are Indian oud, sandalwood, and tonka musk. Royal Oud was launched in 2011. The nose behind this fragrance is Olivier Creed, and the problem with this scent is the price. I think people were initially happy that Creed tossed their hat into the oud ring, but I think the price turned a lot of folks off. Normally, Creed scents like Green Irish Tweed and Aventus and Virgin Island Water retail for $315 for 4 ounces. But Royal Oud has that $315 price tag, but you're only getting 2.5 ounces of fragrance for that price, which makes this really expensive in my mind. And now, thankfully, this scent has already hit the gray market, and you can get it more often than not for about half of the retail price. And that makes me happy because this is one that I am going to wind up buying in the near future. It's a great scent for people who want an oud scent but don't really want that intense, full-on, strong, heavy-handed oud. It's light, it's fresh, but it still packs enough punch so that it is a scent you can wear in the winter or fall. I like the lemon and berry and bergamot on top, and I like the beautiful back end with the galbanum, sandalwood, and oud. I think this is a great job by Creed with this scent, and I recommend you try it or buy it. Now, next up, we've got an Amouage scent. Let's see if we can get the camera to focus here. This one is called Epic Man. And on this show so far, we talked about 2 other Amouage scents. I did a full review of Seal Man, which is honestly turning out to be one of my favorite fragrances of all time. It's light and elegant and a male floral scent. We also looked at Diaman, a sample of which I also got from Decant Shop, and I was sort of not impressed with Diaman, and I'm much more impressed with Seal. And now we look at Epic Man, and this scent sort of pays homage to the legendary Silk Road, which led from China to Arabia. Rhonda Hamamimi, who has done some fragrances for Guerlain and Van Cleef & Arpels, is the nose behind this scent, and Amouage released it in 2009. Notes here are going to be pink pepper, cardamom, saffron, nutmeg, geranium, myrrh, and patchouli, leather, incense, and oud. So again, as usual with these Amouage scents, there is a lot going on. Some described as perfectly on Fragrantica, and I'm going to quote them basically. Axton44 is a member there. Give him due credit. He said this smelled like a steam room, a wooden steam room with expensive bath soap oil in the air and incense burning. And to me, that's perfect. It's a nice juxtaposition. You've got some great incense behind these really high-end, soapy, rich-smelling notes. I like it. I don't love it. I couldn't see myself shelling out $200 to $300 for this scent, but I'll keep coming back to it to learn more about it because it definitely intrigues me. Amouage is a brand that I've grown to have a great deal of respect for, and one of my favorite niche houses. I love the work they do and the different and interesting scents that Amouage puts out. So I'd say try this one. Buy Royal Oud, try this one, or try Royal Oud. And then the final scent in this episode of Sample Shopping, that again has been sponsored by decantshop.com, is a discontinued scent that I've been wanting to get my nose on for at least a year or two, to go back and see if it smells the way that I remember that it did. It's a Gucci scent. It's not Pour Homme, which we will take a look at in a future episode. But this week we're looking at Gucci Envy for Men. I've reviewed one Gucci scent so far on my channel, Pour Homme 2. And if you watched that video, you know I lamented Gucci abandoning some of their old school creative and different scents for these Gucci guilty flankers and Gucci sport fragrances. Hopefully Gucci Museo is a step in the right direction. I plan on picking that up soon and reviewing it. Gucci Envy was released in 1998, and your top notes are going to be rose and jasmine. Middle notes are going to be sandalwood and cedarwood. You've also got coriander, pepper, rosewood, and ginger in here. So it sounds great, right? I also remember this scent for sort of having that ectoplasma cooler high C color from the film Ghostbusters, and being in a bottle with a really long cap. You can still find this scent on eBay, but you're going to have to pay about $1.15 for a 50 ml and over $200 for a 100 ml. Is it worth it? I think that depends on if you're a real collector. I'd say maybe so. If not, I'd say probably not. There's no doubt this is a nice dry scent. I really can pick up the ginger and coriander and lavender on top. It's a woodsy, incensey scent, and I really like the way that I wish that Gucci and more designer labels would make more sense like this and less of those boring aquatics that line the walls at Sephora, because this smells very different than those sort of scents. But there are a lot of niche scents out there with this kind of quality that you can get at a better price. Now, if you ever come across this scent at the right price, I would recommend picking it up. I think it's a really interesting scent and one that I'll wear a couple more times before I make any kind of final decision about it. So anyway, just to recap quickly, the three scents we looked at were Creed's Royal Oud. For me, I will be buying a bottle of this. Then we looked at Amouage's Epic Man. I got to really sit and think on this one a little bit more. I know this gets a ton of YouTube reviewer love, but I got to let it marinate. I don't think it will be my next Amouage scent. I think I really want to try to pick up Fate Man Jubilation 25 or Memoir next for my next Creed scent. And then finally Gucci Envy, which I might get it in the future if I can find it more reasonably. If not, I think I'll pass on it. But I would recommend you guys try it just to see what it's like, and just to see how good Gucci was before they went over to the fragrance dark side of boring aquatic releases. So anyway, that is this week's show. Again, sponsored by decantshop.com. I cannot recommend that spot highly enough. Their selection's growing every day. They're a pleasure to deal with, and you get your scents real quick. On Sunday of this week, we're going to be taking a look at Prada's new Luna Rosa scent, and then we'll have more reviews all throughout the summer of designer and niche scents, and then during the week, grooming show or shaving show or a sample show. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'm Maximilian, and I'm
Got a slow pop and a Prada low tops. My Dominicana sell out of co-op. She also can suck the gum out of blow pop. The feds wanna talk to my accountant too. They heard I bottle green like Mountain Dew. Too many rocks to be counting, boo. The globe look like the one in the soft.